So, today I'm going to be doing something a little bit different. This is going to be a sort of popular build guide for players who are looking for a goal for themselves, or players that simply want to play a specific role but don't know what mods they need or what they should build for whenever they're looking at a different frame that they might not use very much. Like, say, if you are mainly a Volt player and you want to use Loki, but you don't really know how to mod him to get the most out of him because you've been using just Volt. This is going to be a guide on how to mod Loki to get the most out of him, in my opinion. So this is not an end-all, be-all guide, but it is just a general rundown of sort of what I think you should be going for if you want to be a successful Loki player. And I'm going to want to do these for a lot of the frames, or at least the ones that are most widely used or have the most set-in-stone type of builds. And for this one, it's going to be my Loki build that is focused on always staying invisible and being able to cast Radial Disarm all the time. Like, constantly keeping all of the enemies completely, like, disarmed, confused forever, which is entirely possible. Now, I should say, before we begin this, in appearance, I have the Arcane Swindle Helmet. This is giving me a tiny boost to range, and without it, my power range is 181%. And with it, my power range is 196. Not a huge leap, but there is some distance there to be accounted for. So if you don't have it, you'll have to try a little bit harder to be as effective, although that much range isn't going to matter in most non-open environment cases, because there are many, many hallways in Warframe. So, now that we have that out of the way, let's move on to the build properly. Now, up here at the top, this is Loki Prime. This is a build for Loki Prime specifically. Normal Loki, you would have to Forma to get this build, I believe. But up here at the top, this is just normal, non-Forma Loki Prime. I have an Energy Siphon. Energy Siphon is my preferred use, especially for soloing. I would suggest exclusively Energy Siphon for this build because it makes other things work better. But if you have to swap to Corrosive Projection... Oop, this is in reverse. If you have to swap to Corrosive Projection, it's the same polarity. No big deal to swap that out if you need to. Now, as for the mods, you should be prepared to need a lot of the high quality mods in the game. First of all is Prime Continuity. This is not completely required, as regular continuity is 30%. I don't have this maxed out quite yet, but it will be 55 when I do, and it won't up the cost at all for this build. But without it, you're at 179 duration. Not a huge leap, but it is nice to have that extra duration from Prime Continuity. Other mods that are harder to get that you'll need for this build: Overextended, which is a corrupted mod; Narrow-Minded, corrupted mod; Bleeding Expertise, corrupted mod; Nightmare mod, Constitution, and then we have two common mods: Stretch, Streamline, and we have a what are they called? Syndicate mod, which is Irradiating Disarm. This is from Cephalon Suda. Yeah, Cephalon Suda, I believe. If that's wrong, I'll say what syndicate it's actually from on screen right now. But yeah, I'm pretty sure Cephalon Suda. But yeah, this is the general purpose Loki build that you can use for running anything. Because your power duration is double, your power range is double, your power efficiency is max, and Loki doesn't have anything that uses power strength. So this is about the highest stats you're going to be able to get for him, to stay completely invisible and be able to disarm people at the same time. It is a very safe build that is very effective and helps your team a lot if you perform well with it. Now, the reason that Loki is used a lot is because Radial Disarm is very, very good, and Irradiating Disarm only compounds that by making enemies fight each other when you disarm them. So having a Loki around that can do this effectively is really good. Downsides to Loki is that he's very, very squishy with 213 health and 65 armor. Basically no armor. That might as well be 0. And then his shields are 225, and his stamina is 100, which is decent, but it's not like insanely high. And then his power, Loki Prime has a good power pool, 262. Nothing to scoff at. But the main thing about this build is that it's safe because you're always invisible. Now, because we have all of these duration mods and we're at 199% duration, Energy Siphon, whenever we go invisible, and combined with our power efficiency, making our skills cost much, much less, is going to make it so that we're effectively always invisible, never running out of power. And also, it's worth noting, my preferred weapons whenever I'm using this build are Kogake for mobility, Vacor, Merlock, but I use a suppression on it for noise reduction so that I can get the stealth multipliers out of it and such, and killing enemies silently is effective. And then Soma Prime for whenever you get those random stalker attacks and such. So let's go and show how this build works in a general mission, like let's say a sabotage solo. Nothing too crazy. Fuck it, we'll go to Pluto. It's not like this build gets shot. Let's see. I actually don't remember if there's a sabotage here. There is a sabotage here. Fantastic. So this is probably one of the most difficult star chart missions, and I'm pretty sure it won't be a problem. Being that everything I have is silent. While playing this build, you do need to keep in mind of your timers in the bottom right, because being in a safe position to recast is incredibly important. But because you're so energy efficient, it's generally not a problem. Also, make sure not to touch any enemies, because they will know you're there if you touch their pants. If you're in the same pants as someone else, they probably know what's up. And I'm getting messages because reasons. Alright. Okay. Oh, woo, I touched that man. Oh, well, he doesn't know where I am now. They're confused, it's fine. Yeah, generally this is going to be about the fastest way you can do most missions. Okay. Fresh code of invisibility for walking in here. This is the reason I like to use the Vacor, because you can just eliminate everybody. Let's get this reactor all busted. Alright. Easy does it. And I'm pretty sure I've exclusive. Ooh, I touched that one. Fucking it up. Yeah, generally the enemy will just never know what hit them if you're using a silent weapon. Get out of here, Corpus. Also, the explosion that comes from the Vacor Merlock is also completely silent. I wish people would stop messaging me while I'm set on recording mode. Anyway, yeah, this build is generally just really OP for general mission running, and it's pretty hard to die from non-AoE. Like, generally with this build, if you die, it's either because there was a large AoE that instant killed you, or because you fucked up, which makes this a semi-high skill playstyle, I suppose. It's mostly a playstyle that is just different from the ways that you play pretty much any other frame. Yeah, never even got hit. Oh, Zanuka was coming after me. Aww. It is worth noting that because Stalker is a, like, asshole enemy, he'll just make you not invisible. Because evidently that's the way that Stalker rolls now, is that you can't use powers, just fight him to the death. So, if Stalker comes after you with this build, you will have to just gunfight him to the death. But that is the first part of this build. The other part of this build is harder to show because it is for group environments where you're just constantly casting your 4 and disarming everyone. But I'll show the basic way that it works. Like, let's go... Well, it's a mission where I'll have a decent number of enemies. That won't take too long. Not spy. Deception. I could probably get a decent group of deception here. I want a decent group of enemies to show like exactly what goes on with your 4 and how big of a range it really has. Okay, all of the enemies here. They're all irradiated and disarmed. So now they're going to fight each other. I affectionately like to call this Fight Club, because they just fight to the death. Oh look, he's the only one left. Easy. Yeah, this stuff is... A lot of people think that Loki is like some hilariously high skill frame, but like really it's just that it's different and that it's not like the other frames and how they play, with the exception of Ashe, who can be played like this, and it is also very effective. I don't think my scans are done with these guys. No, they are. Oh good, I get to show off one of the other things that's really nice about this. After I recast. There we go. Yeah, with the introduction of the Samaris capturing thing, these guys just sit here. They have no idea. Boop. Well, that's done. Easy, right? Yeah, this build is hilariously good for that. If you need to hunt down enemies. Also, the attack bonus to melee while you're stealth is very powerful. There we go. Oh, you're looking the wrong way, Grenier. That's unfortunate. Even if you do get seen, it's impossible for the enemies to fight an invisible enemy, generally, so they just kind of die. Because they don't know what's going on. Yeah, you definitely need a silent weapon for this build to be as effective as it can be. Just because whenever you fire, they'll know where you were. So being able to shoot doors like that, that'll take your energy and such, is incredibly helpful. Also that explosion, I don't know if I mentioned this, is also silent. And it's definitely one of the top builds in the game, just because it makes everything so easy. Like, just any level. But it also requires a lot of the hardest to get cards in the game. So, it's a build that you'll make whenever you have everything, essentially. And to be totally reasonable, Loki is not very good without these cards. But yeah, it's a very good build for general mission running and defenses. And you can kind of bring it anywhere. This build is also currently being popularized like very widely by the raid, with the need to disarm very, very, very strong like level 80 Grenier. So if you're looking for a way to build Loki, this is the one that I have found to be the best. I'll show that again. Oh, also, I should note, this narrow-minded being 2 levels off of max is actually where I prefer narrow-minded to sit, because it is mostly offset by stretch. But that's just me. A maxed out narrow-minded will, of course, just give you more duration and a little bit less range. Personally, I just like the rough evening out with stretch when it's at this cost, and whenever it costs 2 less is nice on a lot of builds, because it means that you can fit another mod in that costs 2 more. But that's more of a side note than anything else, and of course, how you build your frame is up to your preference. This is simply a suggestion. Thank you guys for watching, if you're still sticking with me. And if you want to see more how to build or specific builds on a different Warframe, let me know what frame you want to see, if you want to see more, all that kind of stuff. Thank you to anyone who's been sharing any of my videos. That helps out a huge amount, and I really appreciate everyone who's subbed to me and all that stuff, which I haven't really said in a while, so I'm saying it now. So there it is.